So I was tipped off by a follower of mine on Instagram. She wasn't a parent at this school, but she knew parents who did attend this school. And she told me that there was a school that was running a queer club for students in years 3 to 6. So that's children 8 to 12 years old. Queer club, a primary school for years 3 to 6. So I decided to look into it. Very, very quick and easy Google search. Looked at the school's website, looked at the school's newsletter, which is publicly available and still is. And there we had it. Lo and behold, the queer club was there. And then I decided to have a look at the teacher's profile as well, because the shoe usually fits in those kind of situations. Trish Patsy Munro. Look at this. We've got the pronouns in the bio. We've got the rainbow lanyard, the rainbow... it's just so... primary school. And I'm a content creator for Gays Against Groomers. And one of our main missions at the organisation is to end the indoctrination of children in the name of gay rights. Let me make something real clear, Trishy. There is no place for an LGBT club in any school, let alone a primary school. So I made the video, packaged it all up. It was approved by Gays Against Groomers before I shared it. So I posted that on the 29th of May. And on the 6th of June, which was less than a week later, I received an email from X saying that they had received a withdrawal notice from the eSafety Commissioner. eSafety Karen strikes again. So I received this last night, and as you can see here, there was a request made to X from our eSafety Commissioner, g'day Jules, saying that my video violated the laws of Australia. It didn't say which law, it didn't have any attachments to the email, but the tweet was then geo-blocked in Australia, which means no one in Australia could see it. It's still up on Instagram. Nothing's happened on Meta, just Twitter, which I also find incredibly suspicious. I did have a read of the Online Safety Act, which is what the eSafety Commissioner uses. And my best guess is that it's been interpreted as cyberbullying against an Australian adult, which means the teacher in the video.
The eSafety Commissioner, Julia Grant, she was at the Senate hearing last week. And I'd just like to play this and to hear your response.
Our assessment of the content, it only goes to serious harm and whether the post or posts were intended to menace, harass, and cause offense to the Australian individual by an ordinary, reasonable person in all the circumstances. So a very high threshold. I would also note that all the valid ACA complaints, which is adult cyber abuse complaints that we receive, only 6% resort in formal notices. So you know that when those thresholds have been met, that they're very serious attempts to not just merely cause emotional and psychological harm to an Australian person, but again, you're wanting to engage me on a political debate and personal. No, I'm not going to censor any political commentary about trans or anti-trans material. That is not my role.
Oh, it's ridiculous. The claim that an ordinary Australian would see what I've posted as incredibly menacing or offensive, I think is false. That's what I mean. It's very, very interesting that they've chosen to go after this one. I reckon my best guess is the teachers maybe put in a complaint, but my response to that would be harden up, love. Like you had it all public. You know what you're doing. Just because someone pointed it out.
And if we look at even on eSafety's own website, it says the content must meet the legal definition of adult cyber abuse. This means it must be both intended to cause serious harm and menacing, harassing, or offensive in all the circumstances.
The point of the video was not to attack the teacher at all. It was to shed a light on something that's becoming increasingly popular in this country, which is queer clubs in primary schools, which is something I feel very passionately about parents knowing.
What is a queer club? And what would it be doing in a primary school?
The queer club, as stated in the newsletter, was for students who identify as LGBT plus QXYZ, alphabet, Wi-Fi password community, and their allies. So I'm of the belief that children aren't sexual beings, so there's no need to be discussing sexuality in school, let alone primary school. And I also found it a bit how you going that it was, yes, allies as well. So it's like, what, the students that don't go to the club are not allies, they're enemies. It creates a lot of tension, and I just don't think it's necessary. So Billboard Chris shared that video where I made the link between Teddy Cook and Julie Inman Grant. Does anyone remember this story? You know the one where Billboard Chris allegedly misgendered Miss Teddy Cook. So as you can see here, the responsibility of our eSafety Commissioner is to monitor online safety. But I want you to have a look here at the organisations that helped form eSafety modules, particularly ACON, because Miss Teddy Cook is the director of ACON. So is it really any surprise that they're hammering down on Chris this hard over misgendering this woman? Friends in high places, I'm telling you. We are so captured in this country. So when this whole shebang happened, I reached out to him pretty much asking for advice, because I'm like, hey, me too now. What can I do? And he immediately directed me in the direction of the Free Speech Union. So that was great. He also reshared the video on his own personal account, which I'm very, very grateful for, because it means it's not geo-blocked. It's only geo-blocked on my specific post. And yes, of course, Senator Ralph Babette posted it on his personal account and was like, okay, the eSafety Commissar wants to censor this. Let's see if she censors it off mine. And I just think it takes a lot of guts as a politician to do that. So I was very, very grateful for him to do that. It also reached Libs of TikTok over in the States. And she uploaded it as well. And that was one of the best things to wake up to a couple of days ago, because I've been a huge fan of Chaya for a very, very long time. She's really done me a favour, the old Jules, with the Streisand effect, because now it's spreading like wildfire.
If somebody doesn't like a decision, I've never had a decision of removing content challenged, but we have systems in place. We have an internal review process. We have a Freedom of Information Act. We have a tribunal. We have an ombudsman, and somebody can take us to the federal court, and I think that's good. So I do think there needs to be scrutiny when people talk about taking down content.
Thanks, Julie. I've just taken you up on that. I've filed my appeal to the Administrative Appeals Tribunal for the video that you took down earlier this week. So the plan is we're going to draft up an appeal to put towards the Administrative Appeals Tribunal on the grounds that, the video did not fit any of that criteria to be removed. And I think he's put something in there as well that compares it to Billboard Chris's case, as well as the Bishop stabbing video. And it's like, this one's arguably the worst one, because you can't justify it at all.
I'm here to do the right thing, to keep Australians safe online, to use the powers that I have, and in fact, test the powers that I have.
To me, and to a lot of others, it seems she is very picky and choosy about what she censors, which to me says that she's not really impartial about it, and therefore incapable of doing the role. Yeah, fingers crossed this might be the one that she goes a bit too far with. And as a young person in Australia, I love my country, man. I love this country. So yeah, more than willing to do what I need to do to keep spreading the word about what's going on in schools and everything else to do with that. But so I'll be taking it as far as I can, doing whatever I can do.